Hey guys, it's TechRain here. In today's video, we're building the best $1,600 gaming PC. That is right. If you guys do not know, my dad's gaming PC or work PC is starting to act wonky and having some problems with it. So he was looking to upgrade his PC, and originally he was looking at like a $1,600 Costco PC. But I told him, hold off from doing that because I will build you the best gaming PC for that price point, and that's what we got here today. So we're building him in his dream gaming PC. So let's get into specs. First of all, we can only go with the best of the best for my father, so we got him in i9 12900K. Now this is a 16-core, 24-thread CPU from the 12th gen from Intel. Now originally I was thinking about going 13th gen or 14th gen of the i9s. However, they've been having so many problems from microcoding to overheating and just like everything. So 12th gen was the last good gen from Intel that was actually a banger, and they were competing with like the 3000 series from was it AMD, and they were actually crushing it, and then he didn't have any problems whatsoever. So that's what we got him here today, and this thing is an absolute menace and he'll love it. Now originally I was thinking about going Ryzen for his build, but it didn't really fit in our price point for the best like PC price, and on top of that too, like this is on sale, it's really cheap, so I was like, I'm gonna pick this up for like, it said $300, $260 during Prime Day, so yeah, I'll take it. For our motherboard, we went with MSI, the B760 motherboard. Now this has Wi-Fi on board and actually has a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. I feel like all motherboards nowadays should just automatically come, instead of 1 gig, 2 gigabit Ethernet on board or 2.5. It just makes more sense. And I'm surprised like a lot of them just don't do it. Thankfully, this has it actually on board, so that's amazing. Plus, it has a total of 5 16 PCIe slots. Now you might be wondering, why do we need so many PCIe 16 byte slots? Well, he wants to hook up a bunch of PCIe adapters plus a 10 gigabit NIC for its network card, which requires, I think it's 8 or 4 pin, I'll have to double check. But we went a bit overkill for the PCIe slots, that way he could hook up as many things as he wants to. Now, he still doesn't plan the overclock or anything like that, so you might be wondering like, why do you get the K version? Just because why not? But it's not gonna really overclock. He's gonna use it to get the most out of his PC. I feel like this is perfect for what we're doing. Next up, memory. We got ourselves not 32 gigabytes, but 64 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance. Now, this is not 6,000 megahertz. This is only 5,200 megahertz. And the reason why we went with this was because one, it was $50 cheaper, and two, it didn't really make sense to get 6,000 megahertz because it would have been like $200 to 210, and it didn't really fit in our price point for the build. So this is still way more than enough for what he needs to do. Like, yeah, this is a big upgrade. For our SSD and boot drive, we went with the Samsung 980 Pro SSD. That is right, this is a Gen 4 SSD, which will go perfect with our motherboard because its top slot is a Gen 4 drive bay. And so we'll be able to get the maximum speeds out of this drive, which is fantastic. We also have another drive to install, but it's not gonna get here till a little bit later. It's gonna be like a Crucial P3 1 terabyte drive. That was originally gonna be the boot drive. However, I had this drive on hand and I was not doing anything with it. So I was like, I'll just give him 2 terabytes and just give him the other one as a bonus. So you can either go with this drive for your boot drive or the Crucial P3. The P3 is gonna be like $60 compared to this one, which is like $90, so up to you. I have some optional things to choose from if you don't wanna go with like the RAM or the SSD. You can even save some money with going the other alternative parts. With our power supply, we went with 750 watts with the Corsair RM750E. This is just giving an overall great power supply for efficiency. That will really just get everything. That's getting a gold rating, which is fantastic. We were originally gonna get the 850 watt power supply. I sent him the wrong link though, so he got this instead. It'll still do the job, but I would recommend going with 850 instead, just for future proofing long term if you wanna like throw a 4080 in there. For our cooler, we got ourselves the Arctic 360 liquid cooler 3 black. This thing is like the best cooler on the market that you can actually get for just cooling your CPUs in general. And I was like $90 for a 360 rad. No RGB, but it's a very good deal if you just want performance and efficiency. Now, again, the fun part, the GPU, we went with the 4070 Super. This GPU is just fantastic. Now, keep in mind, this is not the best 4070 on the market just because of the fact this is $600, right? It actually has a 128 memory bit bus, plus on top of that it has 12 gigs of DDR, I think it's DDR6 memory, I can correct myself in post, and it's only $600. And it has a great amount of performance to go with that actual spec part. Now, we could have gone with the TI version, like the 16 gigabyte version, 256-bit bus. However, they stopped producing the 4080s and 4090s recently, so their prices with the 4070s have skyrocketed to over $700 for those variations of those cards. Originally, they were only like $600 competing against this, so that sucks. So we went with this instead because it's just made sense to. It'll still absolutely crush games at the end of the day. Oh my God, we're getting the fun part, the PC case. Now, we're going with Montech King 95 Pro PC case. This is an absolute beast high-end PC case. It has a ton of fans, a ton of RGB, a nice fan hub, and all that jazz. And like, originally, I was gonna use this for my PC build for later down the line for like a 2000 PC build video. So if you don't wanna miss out on that, definitely get subscribed. But I thought I'd give it to my father since one, it'd save him some money. Two, I already counted that in the part list. So like, this is a part of the $1,600 part list video, but he didn't have to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Do my father a favor and save him like some money, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna be building this today and I'm looking forward to it so much. So let's get into the build process. So first of all, we're going to install our CPU. And of course, this is one of those ones with a nice high-end latch. We're gonna plop this on up, open our CPU bracket or socket. Next up, we need to install our CPU. So first of all, you see that little golden arrow on the bottom there? We wanna line that up with our motherboard socket. Now to find our socket where the arrow matches up, we just look on the actual black plate here. So don't forget to check this. Where you can see the black arrow right there, it's perfect. So what we wanna do is take the golden arrow, line it up with the socket, and just carefully drop it on in. That, our CPU is good to go. So our CPU is installed, all we have to do is push this on down and pop up our little socket thing. That part is always sus. You just gotta push it down to the clicks on out, which is fantastic now that it's done. The next thing we're gonna do is install RAM, but I wanna make one quick mention. We are gonna switch out the socket for the CPU because the cooler comes with a custom backplate to make it cool better for Intel CPUs. So I just wanna point that out there for later. That's why we have them like styrofoam here. But for the time being here, what we can do is install RAM. We can install the 2 and 4 slots. So we're gonna just open these little latches here. And with that, what we want to make sure to do is to have this tooth in the middle of the actual RAM slot actually match and line on up. Now, it's interesting. Usually the logo for Corsair will point towards the CPU. That's to help, another indicator to help identify if you have the tooth the right way. But it doesn't seem to be the same case for DDR5. You got to have it reversed. So that's good. Just make sure your tooth is always lined on up before you apply any pressure. Now, what we have to do is, now that it's lined up, put even pressure on both sides so it clicks in place. Yeah, that's good. Same for the other side, apply pressure. And with that, our first RAM slot is installed for our 2 slot, which is awesome. So we're gonna do the exact same thing. Make sure you have both sides, plop it on in like so carefully. And then she's good. Push one pressure one side. Awesome. With that, our RAM is perfectly installed. Now the next thing we're gonna do is install our M.2 SSD. So what we're gonna do is get on the latch both these screws here on this M.2 Lightning Gen 4 slot, which is awesome. So this is just gonna make sure our CPU gets a nice little cooling from it. Plus on top of that too, it will be Gen 4 speed, so we'll get the full bandwidth of our Gen 4 drive. This is really just easy. Just grab a small Phillips screwdriver. I don't think that's the actual name of it, but super small, all you need to know. And once you're good, you should just easily come undone. With that, we're good to go. So what I want to make sure to do is line up that small tooth with the small tooth slot and the big tooth with the big tooth here. So that way we can install this properly. So you can see there's a small tooth mark there, and there's a big tooth mark there. We're gonna angle this on in. Once you have it angled, slip it on down like so. And once it bites, you can push it. Now it's interesting, this actual thing has a little slip here, so it should just lock it in place, which is very interesting to see. I've never seen this before in an M.2 slot, but it's really nice about this motherboard. I know they started doing it with the NAS. I recently did a review on it, so this is amazing. I just want to quickly say this is fantastic. I love this. And before we install our heatsink to our little CPU into the back of the motherboard, we're gonna make sure to take off this little plastic on here so the thermal pad is good to go, because you don't want to start cooking your CPU and then you melt the plastic on the the SSD, which would be annoying. So what we're gonna do, make sure to line up these screws. One screw's gonna go here, perfect. Another one's gonna go there, and then we can just screw this back on. And you know once it's on, when it doesn't screw anymore, it's gonna be nice and tight. So that's good there. That's good. Our SSD is installed. Now that we got our RAM installed and our SSD installed and our CPU partially installed, what we're gonna do is finish this on up and actually switch out the socket. Now to keep in mind, when you do get this cooler in the box, you will get a few things. First of all, there'll be a brown little cardboard box that will come with this backpack bracket here we wanna have. And it'll also, on top of that too, come with a little plastic bag with a bunch of stuff. It'll have 2 different kinds of cables for 2 different use cases. I'm not gonna go over them right now because we're not at that step, but we will hold on to these. Some screws for each different things. One will of course be for the socket. Another one will be for the actual CPU socket here, which is these 4 screws, and these ones we want to primarily use right now. And the most important thing will of course be this little Allen wrench. The brackets will be in there too, but these are the only 2 things we want to worry about right now. Because what we're gonna do is first of all, take out our CPU. So just pinch the 2 sides of the corner of the socket. With that, you should easily come out. Make sure to set this to somewhere on your desk and don't let the gold pinch touch your desk. So we're set this on the styrofoam. And the reason why we're doing this and having this styrofoam here, because we're gonna take advantage of the back plate for the CPU cooler. So you can see the silver thing here. We wanna make sure this does not fall out. And if you have some styrofoam behind it, it's not gonna go anywhere. So the next thing we do is grab the actual Allen wrench, start unscrewing the 4 corner screws for the socket, then just lefty loosey, okay? You just wanna do this until they do not actually stay in there. It should be like 4 turns most times around, but you'll know when you have it loose because it should just easily come undone. Just make sure to take your time with this because you don't want your Allen wrench going to the socket, messing things up. If everything goes smoothly, it should just come out like so. It should just easily come undone. Of course, there we go. Is reinstall our CPU, of course. Make sure the gold corner is matched up with the side from earlier, which should be really easy since we identified it earlier. We're gonna take that back plate now and make sure that the logo for Arctic is up top. We're just gonna place this on and it should just fall into place. And if it falls into place, awesome. What we're gonna do is take these 4 screws, drop them into each of the corners. And with that, what we can do is take our Phillips screwdriver and start screwing down our bracket. You know when each of the sides are good, when it actually tightens on up. You wanna do this nice and evenly though. Now that all 4 corners are perfectly tightened, we love to see it. The next thing we do is install the actual cooler in itself for the actual pump. Now, of course, there is a peel on the backside here, so you will need to remove this before we install thermal paste. So what we're gonna do is unscrew the little lid from the thermal paste. What we're gonna do is take this thermal paste and place a little bit on our CPU. We'll do a nice juicy line, like so. And with that, we're good. Now the screws, of course, will already be on this actual bracket thing, so we do not need to do too crazy. We can just set our cooler somewhere. So we'll set it here on our desk. There will be a little bit of plastic you will need to remove from the actual pump. And make sure the Arctic logo for the pump is pointed upward. Line this on up with our thing. With that, we're good. So what we're gonna do, start tightening it. Now we're gonna evenly do this on both sides. You're just gonna keep on doing this nice and evenly on both sides. I would recommend start with the right side. And then once it's tightened all the way and doesn't turn anymore, you've successfully installed your pump. There will be another plastic thing, of course, the pump top. And we're gonna make sure that we have access to this and we can just slip this on in. It should just plop into place. Nothing fancy should be about it, which we love to see when it just plops on like that. Now before we do anything else, we will do one thing because this is magnetic. It's got a nice strong magnet to it. We're going to plug in the cable. Now the nice thing about this actual radiator is all this is actually daisy chained already, so you can literally just like not have to plug in the fans or anything. You just literally just install this and it's so nice. What we're gonna do now is take that cable from earlier that has 3 different pins. We have one for the VRM, we have one for the pump, and then one for the fan. And what we're gonna do is just plug this on into what we want. So you can see right here on the side of the pump, there will be some pins. We wanna take that pin cable we have and line this on up, plug this on in. You just wanna push it in like so. This is a little bit more unfortunate to be that difficult. You should just hear it click. Now, luckily on the top of this motherboard has all the spots we want to plug in. So first of all, we're going to take our fan cable here and plug it into one of our fan ports. So we have 1 here and 2. So we're just going to plug into either one of these. So we'll plug it into this one for the time being. So just line on up with the 4 pins, slip on down. Of course, my camera does not want to focus for life of me. It just says pump though. And what we're going to do is line this up with the pump port. So it says pump fan 1 here. And we're gonna just plop this on in, same thing. Make sure to line this back plate in with the 4 pins. And of course, it should just slip on like so. With that, we're good. The last one will be this VRM cable. All we have to do to plug this VRM cable is literally just plug it into any of the fan ports. So we're gonna just do this CPU fan right here. This is fine for the time being. With that, our AIO cooler cables are all good to go and the pump is installed. With that, our CPU cooler is all good to go. I put the pump back on. What we'll do is just route the rest of these cables to the top area so that way we can clean it on up. Before we do anything else, we need to make sure to remove this little stickier here from the PCIe slot and any plastic around this actual motherboard, because sometimes they'll plastic on these things, so you just make sure to check. And of course we don't have any, so that's nice. So for this step is going to be probably the most annoying one because we got to install the motherboard properly plus the IO cooler. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our motherboard and our cooler and we're going to carefully grab it like so. I'm going to carefully lower in our board into the bracket slots and set our cooler to a side above it. Just make sure it won't fall on top of the board because that'd be bad. The next thing we want to do before we do anything else, install our IO shield. Now make sure that this part is going to be on the bottom, and then you want to make sure they have this curved, roughed in part pointing upward because we're going to place this on in. So it should be simple as lining it on up. And what we want to make sure is have these corners pushed in. So we're going to push one corner in at a time. So you should just hear it pop in place. You want to do the exact same thing on the opposite side too. With our IO shield nicely installed, all we have to do is line up the actual motherboard backplate with the actual ports. And with that, if everything goes well, you should be able to have the screw holes lined on up too. You grab the screws from the little blocks that came with the actual case, and we start screwing it on in. So the next thing we want to do is install this IO, which is going to be really easy. All we want to do, we're going to grab the IO in itself, line it on up with the top slot of the case. So you want to use actually the screws, the bigger screws that come with the actual case box. If you can see it here, this is the one you want to use install the IO. I'm just glad the fans are already set to exhaust and I don't have to mess with that at all. So it's really nice that everything's just like already ready to go, just to be installed. With that, our cooler's all good to go. Next thing we want to do is install a power supply. So what we're going to do is unscrew one slot here, one screw here with a Phillips screwdriver. Now I've already unscrewed the top one from a previous video, so that was from like a review of this PC case. If you go to see that video, I will have it at the end if you are interested. We're going to take the screw, make sure to set it to the side somewhere, not lose it. Open this on up. So for our power supply, this is going to be modular. So what we want to do is only plug in the cables that we know we're going to need. So we'll just install this first. So we're going to make sure these 4 spots for the screws line up with the back. So you can see there's 4 screw spots here. What we're going to do is have the fan points towards the back of the case and line this up like so. We can just plop this on in. And when we go back to the motherboard accessories, you see this screw with a nice circular top. We want to use this to actually screw in our motherboard in each 4 corner. What we should do is be able to just screw this in, and of course we want to make sure each one are perfectly lined on up. So with that, we have successfully installed our power supply, which is awesome. Now we get to the part where we got to figure out our cable situation. We're gonna have this giant cable bag with pretty much every cable in existence in it. The cables we want to grab for our PC build are going to be the 24-pin SATA power, which is this one right here, CPU power cable, and finally for the last cable we want for the GPU, which is the 16-pin to 8-pin adapter, which is awesome. So what we have to do is plug in each and every one of these cables. So first of all, take our CPU cable, plug that on in like so. It should just slip on in with no problem. If it doesn't slip on in, you need to flip it or you might have it reversed. Next are PCIe cables, put them to the top ones. Next up, we want to take our 24-pin if my ever camera doesn't stop not focusing, and take these 2 ends with 2 different plugs for our 24-pin and plug them into the back here. Plug this on in so. And with that, we're good. Next up, we'll get to my least favorite part, which is plugging in all the cables, which is super easy. We're just gonna route some stuff. We're gonna route this 24-pin to the top one here. Just gonna push that in like so. I'm gonna route this from here to there. And luckily this case has a bunch of extra space, so we can just stash all the rest of the cables excess in here and we don't have to worry about it. And I almost forgot to plug in the SATA power for our fans. So we're gonna just take this, plug this into the SATA port area. These 2 SATA powers right here in the back, because these are part of the case fans. Plug these on into our case. It should be a little tooth. We should be able to line it up like so, and it should just bite on in. Perfect. Same thing with the other one. And that way our case fans are powered. Then we have an RGB header here, which we will plug into our board. So for the time being, we'll take this RGB header here and run it through the top. So that way we can easily install that because the RGB headers are like on the top side of the board. The next thing we have to do is take the CPU cable we have, which is of course the one that's gonna be like the most annoying to install, and run it through the top grommet. Which of course you can't see that because it's on an off angle, but you should be able, if you're following along with the video, you'll easily identify it. Now, we got all the cables for the actual PC in itself case. So we got like the SATA, USB 3, and then the HD audio, and also front panel. Now for all these extra cables, what we're gonna do is take the USB 3 and also the SATA cable, and we're gonna run it through the top grommet here. Same thing with that one. And we're gonna take this HD audio cable and run it through the bottom grommet on the bottom right. Only problem with doing cables is I can't really show you all of them perfectly, but you should be able to follow along with the words I say to get to the point you need to. It's just annoying that I can't like super show you because it's like the toughest part to record. And then the front panel connector, you want to run it from the bottom left one to that grommet. Then we just close the back here, put it on its side. First of all, what we're gonna do is take our SATA, plug it on into the SATA port. Of course, it's under the IO. Luckily, it's super easy to install. Just push that on in. Done. We fit the extra cable back. USB 3 cable now. We want to take this, plug into USB 3 port, which is right next to the 24-pin. I'm gonna have this tooth on the back here pointed to the line that matches that empty hole. We're just gonna push this on down, and then it'll just click into place. So you can see That's good. That's good. We love to see it. Now for the 24 pin, we're gonna do that in just a second, but we're gonna take this RGB cable right here and we're gonna plug it to the top. So I'm gonna run this right here. It's gonna be a little thing next to the fan pump or system fan 1. It's gonna be right above that. I wanna make sure that 1 pin empty spot is lined on up. And with that, that's good. Now for the 24 pin, I'm gonna take this 24 pin, make sure the clip is pointed towards the backside here, lining up with the slot. That 24 pin is good. Now we get to some of the other cables. I got the HD audio cable, but this one's gonna be really easy. You just plug it into the far left audio. It's called JAUD1, which is the HD audio cable. We're just gonna make sure the pins match up at the top. Push this on down. That's good. We got a nice clean cable for it too. So like shortest string possible. Then for our front panel, for our reset button, power switch, all that jazz, goes on this one right here. It's called the JFP1, and just make sure the pins line up with the port. And you push this on down. We're gonna clean run there. Now all of our cables are pretty much good to go. The only thing we need to do now is install our GPU. Of course, we got ourselves a nice gigabyte GPU. This is $600, matte black. My dad's not a huge fan of RGB, so I just got him pretty much efficiency build, but there'll be some bling here and there for him. And some nice aesthetics. So we'll move these two things real quick here, and then they should be one time unscrew, then you can finger screw them the rest if you really want to. I'm coming to a serious realization that it's not the 1 and 2 bracket slots, it's the 2 and 3 slot. Now what we should be able to do, line up our PCIe bracket with the tooth. Should be good. Of course, just move the cables for the IO, push it on down. That, our GPU is good. So we take the 2 screws back and screw them back into spots. So we need to install the GPU power now, but I will actually rerun this because we can actually do a better run here. We're gonna run it from the bottom left or bottom right here. So now we can plug in our GPU. With that, our GPU is now powered, and we're gonna run the other extra cable back. Now the final thing we need to do is plug in this CPU cable to the top one up here, which you can see it's like one in the corner with the 4 pin. Cable is always the least favorite to install. With that, our CPU is powered. So now the question is, will she boot? Now keep in mind, we of course got the power cable in, push to the 1 so that way we don't mess up. HDMI is plugged in. Just ignore my desk. I have so much stuff going on. I've been working on YouTube today. I've been very preoccupied to say the very least. So will it boot? That's the question. That's a good sign. Fans are powered. RGB is there. No troubleshooting the LEDs. It's booting to the CPU right now. Fantastic. Okay, we just saw something for a second there. She boots. Awesome. We're good to go. So I will have a video coming out a little bit later here. What to do after you built your PC. So if you don't want to miss out on that video, definitely get subscribed. Okay, the first game we're testing is Apex Legends. Now, of course, I have maxed out the settings to all on high and very high to start off with. I assume this game will hit over 240 FPS, maybe consistent 300. Okay, let's get into it. Of course, I don't have my normal hotkey, so I literally just tried to super glide right there. That did not work. So far, we're over 240 FPS, almost nearing 300 at times, which is a very good sign. Of course, my hotkey is set to toggle, not hold, so I'm tripping. Let's go. Okay, and bro was peeking the roof. He like popped the bat, and as soon as he popped that bat, he was insta dead. I literally have my hotkeys not set up, so I'm like trying to click F to open doors and then E. Yeah. I'm dead. So far, performance-wise, it's actually doing really, really good. I'm not going to be testing like a lot of games this time around because of the fact that I just want to get this PC for my father. We also had to switch out the Ethernet because for some reason the 2.5 on board wasn't working. So I'm not entirely sure we just got a faulty port or there was a driver malfunction. So I tried a bunch of stuff to fix it, didn't work. But luckily we had a 10 gigabit Ethernet network card coming in, so we got that finally today. So he has 10 gig Ethernet, so he's chilling. Now keep in mind in the studio here, I only get 2.5, but downstairs my server room area, we get around like 10 gigs. So I just need to get a new, what is it called, switch, and one that supports just 10 gigs, because right now I do not have that, which is unfortunate. Bro has devotion. Of course, I'm probably gonna lose that. Oh man, I could have won that, but I just took my time with that. I just sucked with the Eva. So next thing we're gonna do is make all the settings on lowest settings possible to get the most FPS possible. With this, we should gain double to triple the FPS depending on the system. So I think it's gonna be double this 100%. We'll of course see how that goes. Just let's see here. This is
What's bro? You peek or? Oh, why are you there? Why are you there? What are you doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? So we're right now consistently hitting 300 FPS, but then again, I'm not surprised since we have an i9 and also a 4070. Just like this combo, it goes so freaking hard. We did another PC build a while back for my neighbor using a 4070. I can't remember if we got the best version or the same version of this. I think it was the same version. But all you really need to know, the 4070 is honestly just an awesome GPU. There's a TI version. It has like a little bit more VRAM and stuff, but it's not particularly always the best. Like, even though you have more VRAM, your memory bus might not support, might not fully utilize it at times because of the workload. So it really depends. I know that 4070 node like doesn't really benefit at all from like the 16 gigs of VRAM. I think that was the one I was really hyping up. But the only reason I wanted to get it for my father was because of the fact that he uses a lot of VRAM for his stuff. So that's why we got the 12 gigs, because he only had 8. Then he was running into problems with the VRAM usage of his like stuff. So it's like, okay, we're just gonna get him a stupid amount of VRAM. And of course, he's got a stupid amount of normal RAM on top of it too. So if anything does happen when he's like opening a bajillion Chrome tabs, that won't be the case because you have DDR5 of 64 gigabytes. You are chilling, bro. Next game we're testing is the finals. Now, of course, we have max FOV, unlimited FPS, DLSS, and of course, everything's on Epic, the high settings. I assume on the finals we'll hit over 140 FPS consistently. This game, I haven't had really a GPU that has gotten to consistent 240 at times, to 300. So hopefully it might be the case with this PC, since the i9 should help our GPU not be bottlenecked or throttled at all. So we'll see if that's actually the case though. Yeah, so we're hitting over 140 like I expected to on Epic settings. We probably won't get any higher than that unless we're extremely lucky. Just ignore Normie. I'm whiffing Normie with him. We won't talk about that guy. I'm just like poking at them because this SMG is squat diggity. This guy, they're just probably just sucking pieces like, who's this guy shooting at us? He's doing no damage. He's just annoying, bro. They're heavy. It's not very aware, that's the very least. Then again, he could be a bot heavy player. Oh no, 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 do not kill me, no. Dude, I literally just poking at them and does nothing. This SMG does nothing. I have such a nice skin for it. Why does the nice skins never have any value? Oh, it's just unfortunate. This game definitely makes it so like only the pistols and some of the stuff are good. And they get a nice little way to play. Okay, this guy's not over here. Okay, can I leave, please? Can I leave the fight? Can I leave the... Oh, hello. Oh, no, please. No, sir, no, good sir. Do not kill me. I'm not that much of a menace. Okay, somehow that just magically worked. Okay, with that though, we have now turned all the settings for the final to low, even the global illumination for ray tracing. So what we'll do is we'll just do static instead of ray tracing, just to kind of see if it gets any better. Yeah, but this time around, we're definitely hitting over like 190 consistently in the 200 range. Unfortunately, no 240, sadly. There's probably more competitive settings for the finals, but I'm not entirely sure what they are, so I am not even going to try to attempt to like set them up right now. Of course, I've got on the heavy guy. Luckily, I have the OP pistol, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Actually, maybe I'll... Gotta move the cache just to maybe put it in a better spot. Why? Why? There's a person right then and there! Why? You better be worth the save. You better be worth the save. We're chilling, we're chilling, we're chilling, we're chilling, we're chilling. One guy. Of course, different guys in there. It's not dying. Ooh, 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 I'm not gonna get blasted last second. Please, 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 please. Ooh, no, of course. And of course, our one teammate that's watching the whole area does not try to watch me when I cash it out, bro. Ooh, bro, they had one job. Watch me when I was grabbing the cash out, but they threw so hard. Next up, we got Fortnite. Of course, we're starting off Fortnite with the max settings possible on Epic. And of course, the super resolution on custom for 100%. So we'll see how this goes. So I don't expect this to be too high. Right now we're only like dropping, we're just tanking right now FPS. I was expecting with the 40 or 70 to get a lot of FPS, but that's not the case. My UPS is going crazy though. My UPS is like, bro, what are you doing? What are you trying to power? Because the PC consumes a lot of energy. Well, I'm just gonna decrease the super resolution from custom to what's it called, recommended, just to see like how it does. Actually, you know what? We can do balance. Actually, you know what? Let's do performance. I'm pretty sure performance should give us a little bit more FPS because it's gonna be focused on like gaming than actually the quality. Yeah, there we go. So we're getting 100 FPS on epic settings. Nothing like too insane yet. And of course, I don't have a gun, so praying I don't run into them right now. Oh, they're fighting that. Bro just got douched on. Bro literally did all that work for that guy, and I just came in last second and just stole that from him. So I think you guys kind of get the general gist. Playing Fortnite on Epic gives you 100 FPS, but 10 out of 10 not recommended. Pop a squat in this bush real quick. So what I did is I made these settings for Fortnite on low. So we have low preset, means everything's gonna be on low. And then on top of that too, we have anti-aliasing and super resolution off. And then everything else is as low as it can be. Now, I'm pretty confident to say I could figure out the more competitive settings for Fortnite. Same thing with Apex. I have those down for what they are. I don't particularly use them for testing because it's like more complex. But if you guys want to see me start using, instead of low settings, I use the competitive settings, then let me know in the comments. Oh, someone just took a rip. I'm trying to go to the island now. They're just not gonna try to fight me. Legit just heard the guy. What the hell is that? A chainsaw? What do they add a chainsaw Fortnite? So that's why bro is not swing because they added a chainsaw for some reason. Okay. Now the real question is, how's my dad gonna react to the new PC we built him? Let's go get his reaction.
Okay, you ready to see your new PC, dude?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I've been waiting all day for this.
Okay. You ready? Check it out.
Yeah. Looks good, G-Man. Look at this. Look at these cabling. It's pretty tight, bro.
Yeah.
Love that.
Only the best for you. Only the best.
Now, I'm a little nervous here because it's white. What the hell?
Well, you can change the button by pressing that button. And it's very vibrant in colors. That's my favorite. Purple looks mad good on that.
If I'm gonna go crazy, I'm gonna go crazy.
Oh, definitely.
I know. What do you guys like?
Everyone likes the rainbow vomit.
I think of the rainbow vomit. I'm thinking this one.
You like that one? That one's pretty good.
This is my jam.
Okay.
This is sweet. Now take me through it. What do we got here?
So first of all, we got DDR4, 64 gigabytes. It's not 6,000 megahertz, it's 52, which is still really good for 64.
Now, should I have 128 or should I have...
If you want 128, you get 128, but I don't know how much that's going to cost because DDR5 is new. It might cost triple or double than what it is DDR4
okay,
right now.
Okay, as long as your mom doesn't hear it. Well, all right.
Then you got the 360 liquid cooled, the i9. This will keep it cool. We didn't really get anywhere close to over 60C in every gaming test, which is awesome. So
yeah, I like the i9, but I also like having these things for a long time. So part of it was just buying a PC that's gonna last me for a long time.
This is gonna definitely last you more than like 5 to 10 years. I'm pretty confident to say, as long as something doesn't game change. I know Intel's getting rid of hyper-threading, so they're going logical processors for each core, which is I don't know how that's gonna work, but
yeah. And then as far as 2.5 gigabits on the motherboard.
Yeah, about that.
That's good, but
we got you 10 gigabits
10 gig,
because the whole thing with the 2.5, I don't know why. It should just work, but I did a driver, did a bunch of things to get it working. It's not. So we got you a nice 10 gigabit network card. And of course, you have 2 additional 16 byte slots down there.
This is an SFP though, so I could switch it.
Yeah,
from like a
you can switch it to copper fiber
or a DAC cable.
Yeah,
Because
so you could have
storage engineering me likes that. The i9 is really good with high throughput.
Yeah,
and I'd be able to move 10 gigabits easily with it.
A lot of people are gonna probably comment, why didn't you go like the Ryzen 7 58X 3D? It's because one, he uses Intel, works better for his workload. If he was like doing something more just like purely game related, I would have just probably gone AMD, but that's why we went Intel.
I would also add that I used to work at Intel at one point in my life, so I kind of like Intel.
What's your thoughts on Intel right now with the whole microcoding then?
I don't know. I think they'll figure it out. I think it's going to be painful. I mean, there was, let's just put it this way. Intel crushed AMD with some changes, and it's constantly switching.
Yeah.
So right now AMD is the king, stability.
Yeah.
We went with an older processor that didn't have the microcoding for stability. I just want that. I just want headroom.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we went with 12th gen, because one, it's going to be amazing. And this was actually beating 3000 series from AMD. That's when they were kicking Intel's butt. But Intel said, okay, we see you increasing the core count. Let's just do that, but better pricing, a better performance. And they absolutely crushed it with 12th gen.
Cool.
Unfortunately, 13th gen just doesn't do anything. But the funny thing is that 10 gigabit NIC, it literally has a dedicated fan for stuff, so you can just feel that cooling. Like put your hand here,
yeah,
just
I need
feel
that. No,
So
this is going to be great. I'm going to have to figure out how I want to put it in my office, because I might want to like mount it on the wall, like a wall shelf.
Yeah, you're going to have to get a big shelf for that, but
And I don't want to bang my knee.
yeah, that'd be lovely.
All right, well, G-Man, this is spectacular. I was always looking forward to. I love the way you go a little crazy.
You think
when
it's better
I build
than
these things, they look. So I appreciate your
expertise.
details.
No problem. This is
Yeah.
probably my favorite PC I've worked on by far, because one, this case has so much good routing for cables, and on top of it too, it just looks really nice. So I'm like really happy with the results.
Awesome.
Because it's not too much RGB, enough black to make it minimum, but you can have a lot of flexibility with what you do with it.
Yep.
But
All right. Well, thank you, sir.
no problem. I love you, dude.
All right, love you too, buddy.
So the PC turned out really good. I'm really happy with the results, especially playing like games, stuff like that. This thing just absolutely crushed it. I was expecting a little bit more FPS out of Fortnite. I was expecting like around 240 and stuff like that. Then again, we weren't really trying to get the most optimized settings for like just getting FPS in general. I know you can do some really crazy stuff with Fortnite to get really deep into it, but we didn't really get into the nitty gritty with it. I will say this though, this PC is going to destroy everything we throw at it, or he throws it, I should say, because one, it's got 64 gigabyte of memory, so he's not going to run into memory issues, because he's running into 2 different issues. One was graphical memory and one was video memory for like just researching stuff. So with the 12 gigs of VRAM, he's going to be good there, and with the 64 gigabytes of DDR5, he'll be set there. And then for like long-term longevity for this PC, I expect this PC to get around 5 to 6 years of use and just never be worried about again, especially with the liquid cool IO. It's gonna be like cool the whole entire time. We never got past 70C, which was so nice to see, especially with Intel. Like I built a PC a while back with the i9 9900K. If I was to go back and do one thing different and I build it for myself, I would switch out my air cooler with a liquid cooler, because that CPU got really hot really fast. These Intel CPUs do get really hot really fast, but it's not as bad as 13th gen or 14th gen where they're super problematic. Luckily, there are game tests for like the whole 2 hours. We haven't had a single issue with drivers, and that goes to show like the 12th gen was like the last good gen from Intel, and they absolutely killed it. Just unfortunate that Intel absolutely ruined it for like the 13th gen and 14th gen. They're releasing their Core Ultra chips, which is like the new 15th gen CPUs, but they don't really perform the best, and they're 5% lower than AMD for gaming. So like, I don't know what Intel's doing, but hopefully they pick up the game, because like competition is good. If we don't have competition, we have an NVIDIA situation. Supposedly the RTX 4050, not 4050, the 5090 and 5080, like 5080, $1,500. Possibly the 5090 will be over $2,000. So competition is a good thing. So I'm really hoping Intel kicks up their game, comes back swinging against AMD. But I'm really happy with the results of this PC. But what are you guys' thoughts on this PC build? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments down below. But if you guys enjoyed my video here today, make sure to smash like button, get subscribed so you don't miss some future tech content. I'll see you for another one. Tech Rant out.